So, good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to Public Service Knowledge Hub. My name is Jamiu Onosaya, your host tonight. So, today we are having important class tonight on effective official communication. Firstly, let me introduce the topics to us. Now, in the public service, effectiveness is judged not only by the decision we take, but also by how clearly and professionally we communicate them. Official documents such as memo, submission, reports, letters, and minutes are the backbone of administration. They convey policies, capture decisions, and provide direction for action across our offices. However, when communication lacks clarity, proper tone, or good structure, it can result in delay, misunderstanding, and sometimes costly error. This is why today's topic, effective official communication, is crucial. It is about strengthening our capacity to produce documents that reflect accuracy, professionalism, and the standard of excellence expected in the Lagos State Public Service. Now, due to the capacity on the Zoom, we have a limited capacity. So we have introduced YouTube. So you can also join us on our YouTube. So we are live on our YouTube now. I've sent the link to the chat box. So you can send it across in case maybe the network is kicking you out, or because we don't want you to miss out anything, because today's topic is very, very important. It is my pleasure to introduce our distinguished facilitator for today's session, Mrs. Oyebola Olasukanmi Mopeleola, Permanent Secretary, Public Service Office. Mrs. Olasukanmi Mopeleola is a distinguished public servant with an outstanding record of service in the Lagos State Civil Service. She began her career in 2001 and has over the year demonstrated brilliant competence and reliability, rising steadily through the rank to her current position as Permanent Secretary, Public Service Office. A proud alumna of the University of Ibadan and the University of Lagos, Mrs. Oyebola blend academic depth with practical leadership experience. She is a fellow of the Shatter Institute of Personnel Management, CIPM, the Institute of Training and Development, and the Institute of Corporate Administration, and a member of the Nigeria Institute of Management, NIM, and the Institute of Directors. Her commitment and exceptional contributions have been recognized with the National Productivity Order of Merit Award. She has also undertaken flagship executive programs, including the prestigious Policy Strategy and Leadership course at the National Institute for Policy and Strategy Study, NIPS, Kuru. Beyond her professional achievements, Mrs. Oyebola is admired for her diligence, discipline, and compassion quality that have endeared her to colleagues and the wider public service community. She is married and blessed with children. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcome Mrs. Oyegbola Mopileola to the Public Service Knowledge Hub as facilitator today, ably represented by Mrs. Aminat Amzat, Director, Admin and HR, Public Service Office. And I will let you know, Mrs. Oyegbola will join us shortly before the end of the call. But before that, please, let us welcome Mrs. Amzat. Good evening, ma.
Good evening, Mr. Jamil. Good evening, everyone. Sure everybody can share.
Please, if you are seeing Miss Alaja, Mrs. Amzat screen, and if she's audible, please, can you appreciate her with the emoji so that we can know that we are communicating? Okay, you can see the slide.
Good evening, everyone. Please, can everyone hear me well? Clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. I am just representing Mrs. DPS. She will join us very soon in the middle of the presentation. So the focus of the discussion today is on effective official communication in the public service. What is communication? What do we view as communication? Communication is more than passing information. It is the bridge that connects intention to understanding and action. So in essence, for public servants, communication is all about translating policies into practice. One, ensuring accountability. It drives effective service delivery and reduces workplace conflicts and builds trust. So in summary here, what we're saying is that it is not enough. Communication does not take effect until you are present with the information or the policy or the data that you're imputing that will end up becoming information. What is communication, official communication? Key principles that guide effective official communication are clarity, transparency, empathy, accessibility. I know many will be wondering what place does empathy have in communication? As we said earlier, your message must be simple and precise. It's no need for verbose languages, no need for sleeping words. It has to be transparent. You share information openly to build confidence, because when you're able to share, the quality of the information you share will determine the kind of confidence that people will have with respect to whatever you put to paper. And when we talk about empathy here, it's considering the perspective of the audience. It comes in two spaces. The empathy comes from the person giving directive that on the communication, on the issue you want to put to paper. And the second one is the person that you are writing the communication to, considering the level of education, exposure, responsibility, workload, all this it has to put in. For example, you want to write to Mr. Governor, and we are writing like introduction, and we're not getting at the point, knowing fully well that Mr. Governor and other people at that level do not have that positive of time to read through. Then accessibility, ensure communication is easy to find, read, and use. That is in terms of application. So why does communication really matters to us? It builds trust and credibility. It facilitates collaboration and teamwork, supports informed decision-making, strengthens public confidence in service delivery. You know, many will say government is doing a lot, but they are communicating less. Or an officer, you're in a department and you are not communicating your activities in your department, then nothing is happening to the CEO. So why communication? Communication is majorly to build lifeblood for public service because communication is fundamental to the efficiency of public service. It mitigates inefficiency and it serves millions of effectively because whatever you communicate, the quality of what you communicate, the type of information you communicate, all are serving millions of stakeholders. The public service serves as a vital communication link between government and citizenry. Its effectiveness depends largely on clear communication with both internal and external stakeholders. Internal stakeholders are those within your organization or within the public service. You have external, even within you in your ministry, you have your internal stakeholders. At every grade level, every department is a stakeholder. But when you now go outside, then you have the external stakeholders, other ministries, populace, and agencies, and even outside the country, they're all your stakeholders. So while communication can be verbal or non-verbal, the public service primarily relies on verbal communication, expressed through both oral and written forms of the English language. However, greater emphasis is placed on written communication, given its role in documentation, accountability, and official record keeping. So you know, government business is done on paper. Well, of course, we are migrating from that. Here we have a list of various sources of information we can all read later. So some tools, what are the major tools in communication? You have meetings, that is face-to-face. It's been classified into the face-to-face. They have the written, letters, reports, minutes of meeting, memoranda, submissions, speeches, briefs, file notes, and circulars. Then you have the online, which is the website, emails, new media. That is all this WhatsApp and all the likes, and e-governance. So what are the possible purposes and outcomes of written documents? One is to what? Inform. Two, compel action. So when you inform, you want to compel an action. Now, the other thing is when we come to our prayers, that's compel action. Persuade. You want someone to see the reason why you are wanting this demand, or you want this policy, or you want this approval. Convert. That a particular decision is existing, but you want to request for a review of that policy. Appeal. You want to seek for further considerations. Then congratulate. We use it to congratulate, express empathy, to reach an agreement, and to convey decisions. We have classified in this form. Inputs. What are our major inputs? Data is number one. Our nominal role, our oracle, they're all data that come into that. Consultation. When you have one or two, you have a collaboration between one ministry, you go to OTCI to get information. Research, information, conclusions, and recommendations. Those are various inputs that you can, because the conclusion of one meeting can be the input of another meeting. Likewise, the recommendation made by one committee can be the input of another committee. Then we have the output. What comes out as a result of one of these things are reports, proposals, memoranda, submissions, speeches, and letters. There are outcomes as a result. Maybe, for example, there's a recommendation from a personnel management board. Whatever comes out of it is, after the decision has been made, is either a letter comes out, a further submission, or other document. Then lastly is the outcome. The outcome is what is it that you intend to get at the end of it, which is the action and next steps. Increased knowledge, mutual understanding, agreements, and decisions. The qualities of, what are then the qualities of written document, effective writing? Complete. The writing must be complete. You do not leave your reader or your user. You do not leave the reader or user to go and be finding more information elsewhere. It must have the beginning, the middle, and the end of the whole information. Then it must be concise, straight to the point. You don't need to beat around the bush, straight to the point. It has to be clear. That is, there must be a flow in whatever you write. You know, you don't talk about bucket of water here, talk about bucket of sand here, then go again and talk about bucket of water. So it's going to be disjointed there. So, and it must be concrete. Concrete in the sense that it must have meaning. It must be credible. It must be something that can stand the test of the time. It must be correct. If you don't have enough information for about something, please don't put it to writing. It's better you take your time, get the complete and correct information before putting it on paper. And it has to be cautious. You don't, because I'm writing an official letter, you just go straight and talk to anybody. There is always a courtesy language for everything. And it must be what? Considerate. Considerate, that's where the issue of empathy also comes to play, that you want to consider the person you are writing, the matter you are writing about, the person reading it, the matter that is supposed to be discussed, you have to be considered. That means you must have analyzed so many other information, data, before you put it into writing. Now, let's pick the first part. What is a memo? A memo, short form for memorandum, is a communication tool intended to inform a group of people about specific issues, such as events, policy, or resources, and encourage them to take action. According to the New Webster's Dictionary, it is a brief record of an event or analysis of a situation made for one's own future reference or to inform others, and sometimes to convey an instruction or a recommendation. Memos are the most common form of communication within an organization. Memos circulate daily. In the public service, memos are tools of internal communication through which information is conveyed. So, uses of memo in the public service. Memos are used to convey in-service information, inviting attention to problems, instructing employees, recording decisions and actions, announcing policies, establishing accountability, delegating responsibilities, solving problems, reporting results, disseminating routine information. These are all the major reasons why we actually put up our memo. It falls either in either one of the other. So we have classified memo into three: the internal memo, external memo / submission. Then we have the executive memo. The internal memo, this focuses on the routine communication within the MDA or even in a department. You just want to communicate one or two decisions that are directives. Then you have the external memo or submission, which we do majorly call and put up a submission. Some even say put up a proposal or put up a draft, just putting your thoughts in paper. So it's also formal communication to other MDAs or higher authorities called submission when seeking approval. The third one, which is regarded as the executive memo, is a high-level memo to governor or exco seeking policy or financial decisions. So what exactly are the scope of an internal memo? Now we are talking the internal memo. It is done within the department or within your MDA. That is an internal memo. Tone, it is concise, less formal, but still official. Then the purpose, it is routine communication, that is instructions, clarifications, or reminders. For example, now you have a meeting. Examples are HOD reminding staff of a deadline, staff audits. You can put up a memo, or the admin can put up a memo for the commencement of completion of the SPADEV in the beginning of the year. Or you put on, and then director instructing a unit to prepare or report on an action. Like when the planners will write us that, okay, please bring in your requirements based on your monitoring, whatever that they put at the beginning of the month or during the budget period, sorry. Then communicating the directive of a superior officer. Yes, the permanent secretary or head of staff might just realize that the rate of lateness to work is becoming appalling, and the next thing is to put up a memo that any officer that doesn't come to blah, 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 blah. So that is informing the people within that organization. So we have had some samples here. Sorry. Samples of memo. So here you can go, many of us have done, you have from designation of the writer within the MDA, that is from the Department of Director, Admin, and HR, to designation of recipient or recipients. It can be more than one recipient. And you must have the reference number. It will have the date, which clearly states the day, month, and year of issue. Then the subject matter, which is the title. Then the body of the memo comes in place, written as paragraphs beginning with the thesis statement, followed by other paragraphs as may be required. It is a request memo. The action required must be stated. You're talking about, okay, it has been observed that so officers have been reporting to office, blah, 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 within the period. However, if we can say further to the above, maybe that's why he's saying, if it is a request memo, the action required, henceforth, officers must report and clock out or clock in at 8 o'clock. So that is the decision, the action that is required. Then you have the signature, the name, and the designation. It can also come in this format, which is written above, where we have the two boxes. It's all about the choice we want to take. So things to keep in mind when writing an internal memo. Internal memos are short, precise, concise to convey clear messages. I don't think an internal memo shouldn't be more than 1 page. It shouldn't even take more than half of a page or a quarter or the middle or thereabout of it, 1/3 of a page. So in most cases, memos should not be longer than 1 page in length. The body of the memo must have a subject which would be the heading, because that gives attention. Once you have the heading, it attracts attention. The body of the memo would also include pertinent information. They are read and acted upon quickly. Internal memos can be included as an opening page to a report or a longer letter. Yes, for example, you want to attach the circular on personnel budget. If you do the internal memo, you can attach the circular, or you can attach it to the internal memo and distribute to the appropriate department. That's what it means there. Then, extra care must be taken if the information being conveyed is of a sensitive nature. So what then is external memo or the submission? It is a written document to propose, recommend, or request by a subordinate officer to a superior so that it can be considered and or approved. In the public service, written submissions are often used to, 1, make requests. You can use it to make requests. Okay, you want to buy stationery. 2, examine policy issues. You want to do a proposition, you want to request for a review, probably of lateral conversion, for example. Now, you can put a position paper. It doesn't have anything financial. So you are just examining a policy issue. Seek acceptance or approval for projects, programs, activities that concern a specific MDA or a part of it. So you want to use it to seek acceptance or approval. For example, you want to write it out to another ministry to approval for a project, construction of Adeyemi Bero or things like that. Then support or express opposition to a plan or project or program of government. Yes, you can use it to bring up constructive position on matters or plans or projects or programs from government so that they can look at it from a different view. Then provide technical advice to superiors and government. At times, the memo can still be within your MDA. It doesn't really have to go outside your MDA. You might want to look at the deployment policy, for example. You have an idea. You can do a position paper to the head of service through the permanent secretary, through your director, to, okay, sir, I want to give, I have observed this, blah, 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 and this. So that's what we talk about, technical advice. So structure of a submission. File number, sometimes placed at the top right of the page or under the date on the bottom left-hand corner. Okay, let me tell you, many people will say, why do we need file numbers on the submission? The reason is many times you realize the rate at which we use files these days. Many open T files, you can T1, T2, T3, T3, keep on opening files. And when you write submissions, you get to a point that you are looking for a particular submission you wrote. You keep on cracking your brain, cracking, where is it? Where is it? Which file did we use? And everything that happens there. And the next thing is, you don't know which file you actually use. But if you have a file number written below or at top, really helps you for reference purposes. Recipient's designation. That is, when you have the head of service through the permanent secretary, and that is what you mean the recipient's designation. Placed at the top right of the page, about 4 spaces below the top edge of the minuting sheet. Please, I need to say a little about this. Many of us, even because you are trying to conserve paper, at times you want all your information to come on one minuting sheet. And you find people writing at the extreme of the edge of the paper. No, it must go minimum about 4 spaces below. Then you now put it, head of service through the permanent secretary. That is it. And you shouldn't, the margin on both sides should be enough so that when you punch the paper, it does not tear it off in the future. Then subject and title of the submission is very significant because, you know, one thing is when you put a subject, if you put a title to a submission, it gives you first-hand information of what is it you want to read about. Then it has the introduction and background. Yes, this is one thing we need to actually take cognizance about. Whether it's the governor, the head of service, your director, your PS, when you are writing the subject, the introduction or background of a matter, it has to, the first paragraph, that introduction part, should give me a brief of what is it and what I want to achieve. It must, even if it's a one statement, it must be encompassed in that first paragraph. For example, you can just write, okay, let's take the bus train, for example. Sequel to it is pertinent to bring to your attention the bus train accident that happened on so, which has rendered users of that bus, which has left them without a means of transportation and has caused hardship. Hence, hence the need to provide a new bus facility to alleviate their condition. You see, in that one paragraph, you have said what actually had happened to that bus in that period. You have now spoken about what hardship it is causing on those people, and lastly, what you intend to achieve. So it's just a summary of about, in fact, it shouldn't be more than 6 lines. Then you now go to the body. In the main body, you now talk about the statement of the need. In view of the above, consequent upon the above, you now state what has happened, how that thing is impacting, and why you need that thing. So one thing you need to accommodate there is the methodology and description of activities to be carried out. It may require the use of tables, graphs, and charts for elucidation. Then you now go to the budget or estimate if it is necessary. It's not all of the submissions that require cost implication. Then the prayer. Brief conclusion and precise definition of approval sought. Yes, we have our standard, our format. In view of the foregoing, in view of the above, the head of service is hereby requested to approve the release of the sum of blah, 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 to purchase blah, 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 being the amount required to purchase the bus in order to blah, blah, that is it there. And lastly, we know that if it has to do with cost, you have to put the vote of charge there. And in stating the vote of charge, please, there's this thing we usually write, many of us write like the amount, there's this particular word we use. The amount is to be sourced from vote of charge. Vote of charge is different from vote book. So when you say from vote of charge, you will have vote of charge, blah, 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 account code, blah, 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 blah. So when you say vote of charge, purchase of buckets, account code, you put the code there, and then you end it with a balance of so as at kindly state the date of that balance. Because on many occasions, that same balance you are using, someone else has used it in another place. So prayer. So lastly, you have the signature, the name, the designation of the officer, making the submission and date on the bottom left corner. Now we go to the specialized memo. I call it specialized. It is also referred to as specialized memo or executive memo. An ESCO memo is a specialized written policy document prepared by MDAs for submission to the governor in council or the ESCO. So what does it really do? What actually are the focus of the executive memo? It is to inform about an issue or policy matter, initiate, implement, or modify policies, and seek approval for projects, expenditure, or legislative action. Key classification. What exactly are the key classification? We have policy memos, approvals on policy matters and programs, legislative or judicial memos for new laws or amendments. Then you have financial memo for approval of expenditure already in the budget or plan. So that is summary of what we have. So what are the standard format for the ESCO memo? It has the heading, which is always, it must always have like a classified secret. It can be classified secret. It has a code and copy number, date, title, and author. Then secondly, it's going to have the main opening, state, aim, and purpose clearly. This thing also applies to what we have discussed in the first paragraph of our submissions. Then the main paragraphs, facts, arguments, references to past decision, because the ESCO memo is serious business. It's something that is a document that the ESCO will not leave the position they are sitting to take a decision. They want to have every fact, argument, or references that have to be, it has to be accommodated in that ESCO memo. So it's not something you just wake up in one day and write. Then the structure is thematics, numbered for clarity. Same thing goes for our normal submission. So prayer and closing. Formal requests written as short, precise sentences, beginning with functional verbs. Approve, note, ratify, direct, confirm. So those are the things, because you need to clearly, because in ESCO memo, if your request is like 5, you have to state them separately. And this is one thing I will also recommend even for our normal submissions. When you write submission, if you have more than one thing you are seeking, please avoid modeling it up in a prose form. If it is more than one request, kindly do it 1, 2, 3, 4. So this enables that because for example, if is in a part, you want approval for something that requires clarification, funds, and you want further directive, and maybe usage of a vote of charge, and you put everything in one prose. If it's just the first sentence that money alone and the approval says, no, I don't have this kind of money, and the next thing it does, not approved. Every other thing is not approved. But when you have it spelled out, they can choose to, the approver may choose to approve A and leave B, approve D and leave C. So that is the essence of itemizing and stating your prayer. The EXCO memo, what then are the components? It expanded policy context, financial implications, and justification and recommendation are very key in it. The purpose, it is to obtain a clear policy or financial decision at the highest level that will affect the entire service or even the state as a whole. So what is the scope? It's prepared for the governor or the state executive council. Formality, the most formal and carefully structured of all memos. It takes a lot of scrutiny, a lot of review, because you need to keep making sure the genuineness and correctness of the information that is so presented. So what examples of EXCO memo are a proposal for the establishment of a Lagos State Public Service Leadership Development Academy. That's the kind of a memo, what you call an EXCO memo. Anything that cannot be a decision that requires the government, the administrative arm cannot just take approval on it without commencing. You know, for example, if OTCI want to recommend the review of a policy, they need to get because they are existing policy, and we cannot take decision like that without taking the approval of EXCO. Summary comparison on the types of memo. You have, I said, the internal memo. There are routine communication within MDAs, short, direct, and less information. External memo or submission sent to another MDA or higher authority. Formal structured with justification also. Then the executive memo, prepare for governor/EXCO, expanded with policy context, financials, and recommendation. So now go to another type of communication, which is the minutes of meeting. Minutes of meeting are the official written record of the proceedings of a meeting. They provide a clear, concise, and factual account of the discussions held, the decisions reached, the actions agreed upon, including who is responsible and timelines where applicable. In the public service, minutes serve as a legal and administrative reference point, ensuring accountability, continuity, follow-up on government policies and programs. In summary, every government written document, even our verbal communication, we must learn to make it concise, clear, and factual. So when we write minutes, what he's saying here further is that minutes of meeting are a legal document. And that is why today, when there's an issue, they will tell you, can I go and bring the minutes of meeting? Because it must have been endorsed. And this is one thing we miss, especially, we only believe that it's only the PMB minutes that should be signed. Even the minutes of meeting should be signed in our respective ministries. Majorly, it should be signed by the chairman and the secretary of the meeting. So please, let's take cognizance, because many of us leave our minutes of meeting unsigned. If it is not endorsed, it does not become a legal document. So it doesn't have, if it's a normal minutes of meeting, departmental meeting or minutes, you can, the chairman and the secretary or assigned, those who are assigned such responsibilities should sign it. Components of a minute. Sorry, I'm having issue with my blocking. Okay, components of a meeting. Minutes of meeting, sorry. Heading. Within the heading, it has the title, the dates, the venue, and the committee. If it is a committee, it is either a title or the committee. The title is talking about what is the reason, what was the meeting set up for. Minutes of management meeting, minutes of technical meeting, minutes of stakeholder meeting, blah, blah, blah. And if it is a committee meeting, inaugural meeting or minutes of the committee on the review of the public service rule. So that is the heading. Then it's going to have the attendance. The attendance should be categorized as present, absent with apologies, and in attendance, or even people that are guests in the meeting. I want to clarify, when you say, and it has to be in hierarchical order. Then when you say attendance, those who are present at the meeting are those that are under attendance, present. Then when you have absent, those who must have rendered an apology, they are statutory members of that meeting, but had rendered apology for their absence. They will fall under absent. Then you have guests. Probably you invited a consultant or something, you can label it consultant. In attendance are those who are not statutorily supposed to be in the meeting, but have a function to perform in the meeting. Those are the secretariats. Secretariats are not statutory members of the meeting. That is why they fall under in attendance. Then the agenda of the agenda items, that is optional, but it's always good to have the agenda stated in a box after the attendance. Then you have commencement, which is the key discussions. Under agenda, many of the time, we can use that as our commencement, where you write commencement of the meeting, the chairman welcome members, and blah, blah, blah to the meeting, and stated that the objective of the meeting was to, so it has stated like a summary agenda. So key discussions, please, it is summary, not verbatim. We have come to a stage that writing is beginning to go into extinct one way or the other in service. We should not write our meeting in the present. It should be written in the past because it's a meeting that has taken place before then. So you are supposed to write it in the past and not verbatim. It's not everything that is said in a meeting that should be written down. Decisions and resolutions, action points, who, what, and when, and then closing. Okay. Do's and don'ts in a meeting or minutes of meeting. Do's, be accurate, concise, and objective. The objective of the meeting should be the focus of the writer of a minute of meeting. Because if you have the objective at heart, whatever you are writing will focus towards that. So when there are some side talks that are not really relevant to the meeting, you don't get to take note of them. Highlight decisions and action points clearly. The decisions must be clearly captured in the minutes of meeting. Use past tense and formal tone. The don't write verbatim speeches. And I hope verbatim again. Many of us write our minutes. The reason why we're emphasizing verbatim here is many of us write our minutes as if we are there, we are present. They took this cup. The Mrs. Okay, let me give an example. Mrs. Hamza suggested that the green cup should be placed on the table. Mrs. Biodu said she's of the opinion that it should be placed under the table. Mr. Jimo said that we don't even need the cup at all. We don't need all those in the minutes. What was the final decision? The final decision, you was unanimously agreed that the table should be placed under the table. Or the cup should be placed under the table. That is all we need in that meeting. Don't include jokes or personal remarks. Don't delay. Minutes lose value if late. And this is where I want to appeal to all our minutes writers. If you want your minutes to have credence, within 24 hours of the meeting, kindly do an action plan. Just bullet an action plan. Within 48 hours, the first draft of that minutes should be ready. What the essence of doing an action plan is, if there are some directives that have short timeline, whoever is responsible would have been taking necessary action before the draft comes out. But many do leave the keep on writing. It's not yet ready. It's not yet ready. Meanwhile, some issues that require immediate action are being left idle. So when you write your minute, action plan should come out within 24 hours. The action plan should have what and what is the directive, and who should do it, and when it should be delivered. It should be within a sheet of paper approved by the chairman of the meeting. Then within 48 hours, the draft meeting should come out. But no meeting, conclusion of every minute of meeting should take more than 72 hours, or else valuable information will be lost. Now we go to a report. What is a report? It's an organizational tool. A report is a factual account that communicates objective information from some aspects of business. The difference between a minute and a report is, you attended an event or a program or an investigation or evaluation of a process. So you want to give us communicate what you saw or what was reached to you went to represent the Auditor General, you went to represent the PS or thereabout, and you come back. You are expected to drop a report. It's a managerial tool through which levels of organization obtain clear and convenient information for decision making. Places and times, because they eventually become. We have the periodic report, which are reports of activities prepared at specific regular intervals. For example, the activity reports for each department. You're probably a ministry, the accounting officer can say, I want quarterly report. That is the periodic, every three months. Progress reports on progress made on a project, majorly for technical personnel, or for example, building of the auditorium, reconstruction of the auditorium. The officer in charge is expected to do a report on what progress, so percentage has been completed, so percentage is left, but those are what you call a progress report. Comparative report is concerned with the evaluation and comparison of two or more products or services. You want to report, you to attend probably a conference, and you are back. You want to, let's say a comparative report, when you have two or more things that you are reviewing. So you want to give us a report on it, because you must have gone on the field, you must have reviewed some documents, you must have met some stakeholders. Incident report, written to state what happened during a particular incident. The bus train issue that I said is an incident report. Analytical report, written to appraise a situation or sort out factors affecting it. There's probably, okay, let's see, analytical report, even promotion exam, for example. You can do an analytical report on promotion exams and say, no, so, I want to, I have gone through it. It was done before. Okay, the comparative will fall on, you want to compare when the exam was being done and when exam was not done. You can give a comparative report, and it can also fall into an analytical report. Persuasive report, written to convince a group of professionals on the viability of a project, or even the NCE, when a cadre wants to write that, okay, we want to establish the admin and HR, what cadre, maybe level 18 for admin and HR, for example. So you want to persuade people the reason why that should be approved. Standard elements of a report. You should have a title. It should have an executive summary. It should have a table of contents, introduction, terms of reference should be clearly stated in the report, methodology, discussion or body, and then conclusion. Also, it must have its recommendation, references, and then annexes, appendices. The next is the letter. A letter is one of the most basic forms of communication. Letters cover a broad range from appointment letters, confirmation letters, letters of appreciation, condolences to letters of general request, and cover letters. Cover letters are short, usually not more than a page. They mostly convey officers' applications or service documents. Some letters, such as letters of appointment, have standard templates. Basic sections of a letter: the inside address, the recipient's address, the title, and the organization's address. This would appear 4 spaces below the heading along the left margin. Well, when we use the letterhead, also try not to make the address be on the same level where the letterhead ends. At least let it go about 2 spaces away from where the letterhead ends. Salutations, which is optional. Dear sir or dear, this is rarely used in service. The heading, the name of the MDA and address. Generally, letterhead stationery is being used. The reference number and date should be added 2 lines below the name of the MDA. Basic sections of a letter. Use of attention line. If your letter, you want it to gain a particular person's officer's attention, you just write attention. Either you write ATTN or you write attention in full. When writing to an organization outside the service and you're unsure of the recipient's name or title, use attention line. Like we have it here, attention, Director Strategy Department. An attention line is usually placed below the inside address, directing the letter to the one specified. In service, all letters are addressed to either the political head or the accounting officer of the MDA. However, sometimes the need arises for the use of the attention line to invite attention of the scheduled officer. Let me quickly add that for promotion letters, yes, because so you can have the name of the officer, and then you now have UFS, under flying seal, which means that letter is going through, has to pass through a superior officer to the recipient. So subject line. Following the receiver's details in the subject line, basically this line talks about the purpose of the letter, the body of the letter. The body is the longest part of a letter and is usually divided into 3 subcategories. Like it's going to have introduction, main contents, and summary. The closing. End your letter with your signature, followed by your full name and designation. And be sure to show the designation of the political or the accounting officer, whoever you are writing for. So it is right for you to write Amina Hamza, Deputy Director, Admin and HR, for Permanent Secretary. That is the way it's supposed to be. It's good. And I think that came up in, I think it was during 2013 or 14 thereabout. So other forms of writing in the public service: minuting, comments on the content of files referred to an officer. We've spoken about the minutes of meeting. Decision extracts to notify relevant officials of resolutions, decisions taken at a meeting with action points. Handover notes made when a desk officer is going to be absent for a period or is leaving the organization. Circulars used for internal notification. So we have identified some basic sections, Basic abbreviation commonly used in the official correspondence. These were gotten mainly from the handbook, civil service handbook. You can read it through, and we are throwing so many things away that we enjoy using in the service. We can start using these abbreviations. In conclusion, the power of writing in public service. Power is a superpower for every public service officer. The ability to put thoughts into clear, simple words is what transforms ideas into action, builds trust, and moves the service forward. Memos, submission, reports, and letter writing are not just routine chores. They are lifeblood of governance. When your grammar, spelling, and punctuation are sharp, your message is strong. When they are weak, your credibility suffers. Every word you write is a reflection of the service. Write with clarity, write with purpose, write to make impact. We can make reference to circular number 149 on the standard of writing. Yes, and I think we need to speak a little around this. There are two types of writing. You have the block method and the indented method. However, circular of 2017, I think, number 149 of 20, I think it's 149 or 2017. It states clearly that the preferred style for public service is the indented format. And when you say the indented format, it's the one that you number. The first paragraph, you just do a paragraph and shift, is assumed to be there. The second paragraph is number 2, number 3, number 4. That is the one you call indented style. That is the one that is recognized in service. Paragraph must be numbered for ease of reference. And the reason is because when you have a very long letter and you want to make reference, it's easier for you to say paragraph 2, paragraph 2 of letter or folio 10. It makes it easy for reference purpose. Uniform compliance required across MDAs. So it ensures that there is uniformity in service. Then signature. Signature is to be on the lower right-hand corner. And lastly, signing authority. Only for and on behalf of PSCO where delegated. So I want to quickly clear this about the two types of writing. The other type of writing is the block method. In the block method, the heading is justified, is straight. It aligns with the numbering, with all the paragraphs. And you don't have to number all the paragraphs. They can all start at the same edge. And the signing is usually on the left-hand corner. But many of us do mix this up. We use indented and sign on the left-hand corner. No, in writing skills, in writing format, when you use indented, you sign on the right lower corner, the lower right corner. When you use block, you sign on the lower left corner. However, I know we have a format whereby many will ask that our submission writing, we use indented, but we sign on the lower left corner. I believe it's a style we have adopted, but I don't think there's any reason why we cannot always follow the standard format. So, call to action. In the Lagos State Public Service, effective communication is not just about passing information. It is about strengthening trust, shaping perception, and delivering quality service to citizens. It's about committing to using the acceptable standard format in all correspondence. It is about practicing clarity, transparency, empathy, and accessibility in our daily work. Let's reflect now. I'm giving this is the takeaway I have from the permanent secretary to you. How has poor communication affected your work? How many goals have you received as a result of poor communication? And that is where I want to appeal to us about empathy in communication writing. Empathy also starts from the person who is giving you directive to write, and the person that is going to read your consent. The way your communication is the way you shall be addressed. If your communication speaks well, communicates well, gets to the recipient as you have expected it to get to the person, then you give yourself a tap. Secondly, what one thing can your team do this week to improve communication? Within our individual spaces, what can we do to improve our method of communication in our memo, in our minutes, in our reports? We can do better than we are doing today. Share examples from your own experience. Thank you so much for your attention, comments, and feedback. Hello? 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 Oh,
Yes, ma. Thank you very much, ma. Thank you very much, ma. Please, can you appreciate? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sorry. Why PS cannot make it tonight is that Mama just arrived from Jandon, so she's tired and all that. So please, if you have any question, raise your hand up so that you can ask PS representative question on this memo submission and all that. So for more clarity, if you can't ask question, if you can't ask it with your mind, you can use our chat box to send your message there. And before that, please to meet up with all our class, we have our YouTube link on the chat box. So click on it, and it's very, very important for you to go to that YouTube and to check our library and pick all what you want, especially this season that we are approaching promotion exercise. So the YouTube channel there is not for anything, just for your revision. For most people that just joining us, at times you might be in a class like this, but your mind might not even be in that class. But when you go back to the archive and pick what you miss, listen and listen it, often and often. By the time you get to anywhere or anybody asks you outside, are you a civil servant? What about this? What about? You can agree with me that even some people don't even know what's happening in their next room, talk less of other MDAs, right? So that's why we are compiling all this into one visual so that you guys can check the archive, and we have series of it. Just think of what you need to know about the service. We have it in our YouTube library, just for you to get there, choose the one you want. Then don't forget to join our channel so that if you listen to anyone, you want to ask questions. So you can ask that question. Just come to our channel, like Telegram, WhatsApp, and ask the question. Professional will answer you in a GV so that you can you can be proud of yourself that you are a civil servant. So you just have to pass through the service. Let the service also what? Pass through you. It's very, very key, very, very important. You see, there is no, it's not professional for you to, call yourself a civil servant and you cannot say anything about civil service that you are. And you are earning salary. Say, because it will come in. It's for everybody. This is very important, right? Please. So please check our chat box, scroll up and check the YouTube channel. And also we are live, and we have started a live channel now, and we will continue on our subsequent meeting to be on live channel, so that we won't be having any of logging out and other thing. So I will call on Ismail Abdullahi. Unmute yourself. Ismail Abdullahi.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma. Thank you so
Your
much for
your
the
your
amazing.
your name, your
Yes, my
MD.
name is okay. My name is Abdullahi Abiodun Ismail from Citizen Mediation. The parent ministry is Ministry of Justice. Thank you so much, ma, for the amazing delivery. I want to ask, when you are explaining both the reports, the minute, and the likes, is there a standard font to use when writing any of this? And is there a standard font size we should use for any of these reports? Also, she made mention of the margin. How can we measure a standard margin both for the top, bottom, and the left and right? Is there a way to measure the standard margin? Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Ma, I don't know. How do you want us to do it? Do you want to answer the question one after the other, or filing it then now asking answer all the questions? How do you want us to do it, ma?
Answer it as it's come. It's possible that when we answer
Okay,
one, another person might
okay,
see that
okay. You want
theirs
to
have
do
been
it as
answered.
you
So
want
there
to do
might
it
not
as
be
pay
need
as
to
you go. Okay. Do you
yes,
understand
yes.
the
I'll be
last
pay as you go,
caller?
no, no. No, no, I
Okay.
understand. Yes, yes,
Do you understand
yes.
Ismail question? Okay, go ahead, ma.
Yes, Ismail, thank you. The question he asked are one, that what is there a standard format to be used in writing? Well, for me, I believe that the standard format should be as applicable as what we use in our project writing and co. And using Times Roman, Calibri, there's no standard one that says anything the way we should use. But I think going by the standard format of using Times Roman, Calibri, bold. I think Bookman is also standard, but not all those calligraphic fonts. No, and you should always try to justify. And in writing, it is 1.5 that we use for our project. But when you write report, when you write letters in 1.5, you realize that the spaces are always too wide. So at times it's usage of paper. I would suggest that we use 1.15. 1.15 is fine. 1.52 is good. And remove paragraphing and always try to justify. So when you're doing your top margin, like I said earlier, always leave minimum of 4 spaces. When you enter 4 spaces from the top of your submission paper. And if you are using a letterhead, use minimum of 2 spaces from where the header stops. And margin on both sides. You shouldn't be using less than between I think for the left and right, you should be using between 1.5 or maximum 2.5 on both sides. What you have on the right should be equal what is on the left. It's not, some people write letters and you see that the left hand side is wider and the right hand, no. You should have the same equal margin on both sides. And for below, once you have reached between 1.5, I think it's fair enough when you have anything below the margins also. So I think I've answered your question clearly. Ismail, I hope I answered your question. So I'll drop the circle on the formatted on standard format for writing in the public service.
Okay,
Arial, yes, Arial 2 is good for official writing. Arial, yes.
okay. I can see that Ismail okay with your response. Yeah, Our participants some participants joined our Zoom, so I'm trying to see if there's any question. Okay, before that, Fumi Lola Daramola, your question, ma. You have the floor. Mute yourself.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Mrs. Hamza, for the presentation. Good evening, host. I just want the presenter, Mrs. Hamza, to please dwell a bit on UFS and copy too, because I see a lot of things in our daily assignments. So you get a lot of letters and be like, what is this? So please, Ma, kindly help us dwell a bit on copy too and UFS. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. D. For UFS is under flying seal, and the meaning is that letter, the recipient is Mrs. Hamza, but the letter going to Mrs. Hamza has to pass through the accounting officer of that ministry. That means it is for the information and endorsement that this matter is applicable to Hamza, but it is Hamza's letter, but it has to pass through an entity. So that's what underfly. So it all goes through a superior officer to a subordinate officer.
Freezing,
Ma?
Your network is freezing. Okay, it's okay like this.
Okay, is it okay or I should change it?
No,
Is it okay now?
You can mute your video. Maybe it's because of video.
Okay.
So that's
the
network. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so okay, then secondly, copy to. When you have copy to, the person that the action that requires the attention, the action, is the one that you write on the original letterhead paper. For example, you want to write ministry, you want to write LABCA, for example. I've written LABCA, but I want the PS LABCA and other stakeholders, maybe physical planning, surveyor general, to also be aware of that matter. So I will write the PS physical urban development. I will write the PS urban development on my original letterhead, and I will write a copy to either LABCA, because it's LABCA that is the final user. But because the urban development is the supervisory ministry over LABCA, so it goes there. So, but I want physical planning to be aware of this. I cannot say for their information. So this is how you write the letter. That same letter, which you have written to the PS urban development, under the name of where the signing is written. For example, Hamza is the one signing the letter. After the designation, right after that designation, I am going to copy the date and address it back under where it is and the reference number. So that copy to will now become maybe the last page number in the first letter is 7. So the next copy it to, it's either I write CC or I write copy to in full and put iPhone, then come down and write the address, maybe PS physical planning, PS surveyor general. Then I will now put above for your information. So below it, writing above for information is, I want you to be aware that this matter is being addressed to the PS urban development. So they need to be aware because they are stakeholders within that space. Ms. D, I hope my explanation. So the number of people you are copying to, they all get 1 copy each, not on a letterhead. Is on their A4 sheet. So as the officer is going to deploy to dispatch such letter, if it is 5 people that are writing, the 5 of them will be on 1 page, and they must all acknowledge on each of the paper for the filing purposes. So I don't know if I was able to clear that part.
Yeah, Mrs. Daramola, you can use your emoji so that we can confirm that you understand. Mrs.
Okay.
Daramola,
Yeah, she has
unmute
confirmed.
yourself. Are you okay with that response?
Yeah, she has used an emoji. Yeah. She has used the emoji, sir.
Okay, confirm. Okay, thank you. Okay, let me check. So, Ma, I think you will furnish us some samples to demonstrate this thing, like samples of some, memos, submission, reports, if you have any, so that we can display it. Are you still there, Ma?
I'm with you. No promising, I'll try.
Okay, ma. Okay, ma. Mrs. Anoko, I saw your hand now. I believe it's network. Okay. So, okay, who is this? Okay, Smile. Does she say something? Okay, Ismail still saying that. Okay, Miss Anoko. Okay, I'm coming, Miss Anoko, ma. Ismail said, is there a need for minute of conference, ma?
It's a report. You
Mrs.
write a report when you go for your conference.
Okay. I hope you get that, Ismail. Okay.
If you are going more
Mrs.
than one, you can have a group report, one report.
Okay. So, Miss Anoko, you have the floor, ma.
Thank you very much, sir. I wanted to, Mrs. Hamza, in the course of her lecture, she mentioned that if we're writing a letter, we need to put the designation before we put for permanent secretary. But I observed that throughout the time I'm still in service, but at least I've never seen any letter done in that way. So I just wanted a confirmation that,
No,
you
it's
know, you need to
allowed.
put your designation, like I would say Anoko AM, Deputy Director and HR for Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Women
Yes.
Affairs. But, you know, I've not seen, so I just wanted the confirmation. That was why I still had to repeat, because one of my colleagues, we just discussed it as we were giving up, speaking, that I have not come across. She equally said she has never, we've not seen such, like
Mrs.
after,
Anoko,
yeah,
I've seen
yeah, good.
thank you, ma. I've seen so many of such, and it is allowed
Okay,
because who is Mrs. Anoko? If you write
okay.
Anoko AM, who are you? We don't know you. So what we know in you is your designation. So if you write Anoko Miriam, Deputy Director for Permanent Secretary, that is the right official writing way to write. It's very, very much. I'm not sure. I think there's even a circular around that. Yes, I'm very sure about that. Yes, I think there's a circular. I think either a circular, but I know there's a communication around that. If I come by it, we'll see.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks. Okay, noted.
Okay, Ms. Anoko, thank you, ma. Okay. Any more questions before we call it a day? Question. Okay. In reminder, please feel free to visit our YouTube channel. So let me send the link again. So the channel is there for you. So you can click on the link and check our YouTube channel. And for you that, if you are new to this call and you are not part of our any channel, right, like Telegram channel and a WhatsApp channel, so let me send it so that if the Mrs. Hamza sends all the formats, you can be able to view it there.
So Right, Mr. Jami, I've forwarded the acceptable standard format for writing to you. You can share, but I will still, the
Okay,
one Mrs.
I
Anoko
will.
asked about, I'm going to do some points around it, but I know that it's permissible.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. So, without wasting much of our time, okay, who is this? Okay, another question coming up. Olamide Alake, I will be on the lookout for the sample. Okay, that is if you are on our channel, so you can, be able to benefit from that. Our tradition here, we randomly pick up anybody to give the vote of thanks to our guest. So I will pick
So,
on
please,
let me check. Okay. Adedayo Kehinde Aderonke, can you unmute yourself? Adedayo Kehinde Aderonke, are you there? Adedayo Kehinde Aderonke. Mrs. Adebola Akinleye, are you there, ma?
so
Unmute
please,
yourself.
before you give the vote of thanks, let me sincerely express the apology of the PS for not or inability to attend. Though she just arrived and I had to, even as she attended the October 1 event, but it's just not disposed to attending this session. But I can assure you that she's 100% with us here.
Okay, ma. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Mrs.
Good
Adebola.
evening. Good evening, the host and our dear facilitator, my dear sister, Mrs. Amino Hamza. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, ma. I want to appreciate you on this impactful delivery. It was quite impactful. In fact, I got some new things. Despite the fact that I've been in the service for quite some time, I still pick some things. I was able to pick some things, and it was quite impactful. It was quite knowledgeable. I really appreciate you on behalf of this platform. And I want to say a very big thank you to you for this delivery. We really enjoyed it. And we hope that when we call upon you some other time, you will definitely hit to our call. And then I want to also appreciate the permanent secretary whom you're actually standing in for. We want to say a very big thank you to her. And we hope to take all this into cognizance when we are doing our memos, our submissions, and our reports. Thank you very much. God bless you, ma.
Thank you very much, ma, Mrs. Adebola Akinleye. Thank you very much, ma. Kemi Adelaja. Okay. Before I close the call, Mrs. Adelaja, you know the rules, ma. Well, anyway, she's sending a message, a question. Is there a way we can bring back courtesy to our writing, especially letter writing? Mrs. Zat, I don't know if you get that question, ma. If you can just touch that.
I read it, but the thing is, let me use the language of Auntie Suki. She will say that we have dropped the ball. Sincerely, we have dropped the ball. We have dropped the ball at many instances on everything in service. And the only thing is we just have to be deliberate. And for those of us who have downlines, when our downlines want to send letters, please, let's avoid just signing letters. Many of us don't read these letters. Now I'm talking from the voice of Mrs. Sukomi Oyegbola. I'm not talking from Amina Hamza here. Look, we have dropped the ball. We have lost a lot of values in our writing skills and service. We have allowed, let me use the word complacency to take over us. I read a book over the weekend or during the weekend. It was talking about, it defined complacency as a victory disease. A disease, something that we are so comfortable with what we are doing, and gradually we have lost it. And many of us that are the uplines, the reporting officers, superiors, please, let us check what our officers are writing, from letters to submission to reports. We have become so lazy that we drop every letter, anything comes out. In fact, like if she was here to talk, it would have been better for her to lay some examples for now. But we have instances of people writing, I don't know, can you believe somebody writing to the head of service and put UFS permanent secretary, head of service, UFS permanent secretary. We're not checking these things. We need to begin to look with the eagle eye. We should write in such a way that we want to submit our work with less corrections. We should be angry when we submit our papers and there are corrections at this stage. We just endorse and don't read. And when you say you endorse, you must have reviewed before you sign. That's the definition of endorsement. You review before you sign. But what we do is we just peruse. We read through and sign. We don't even read. We just, I can't walk. But let us review things that, because it speaks a lot about our personality. So I just want to appeal to us that courtesy is still very much in the public service, and it is going nowhere, because the public service is based on rules and regulations and guidelines for everything. It is going nowhere, but we just need to be deliberate about ensuring that we follow the right standards, maintain the right courtesy, use the right languages, and avoid verbose words, sleeping words, words that do not add value to the writing. Let us not use them at all. I think that's the summary of it. Courtesy, concise, precise, have a good understanding of what you are writing about, know who you are writing to, know when to use a particular language. Many of us, we have overused some words in view of the foregoing. That's giving the foregoing. Let us spice our writing. Put some spices, put some atagugu, some black pepper, everything in our writing, so that whoever is reading it also will be smiling and feel satisfied. Mrs. Adela, I hope I've answered your question. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma. Well represented, ma. Thank you, thank you, thank you, ma. Thank you, Mrs. Adebola. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everyone. So now, before I will write I learned something tonight. Before writing my submission, I need to buy spices at Agogo and Maggi. No problem. I will go to market. Okay, thank you, ma'am. I am Mrs. Hamza. So, thank you, every one of us. Good night. Have a lovely night rest. Thank you. Bye.